Hey, how's it going, everybody? Lewis here. Relationships, they're the hallmark of life. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That could be good, that could be bad. It can have its ups and downs. I'm going to get into my experience with the topic of relationships, how the difficult times that I've had surrounding the concept, and how now I have great relationships. And I'm talking relationships to your family, your spouse, your partner, God, money. Relationship is a really broad topic. It's not just about your romantic partner. So stay tuned. If you end up by liking the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps a ton when helping this videos reach a wider audience. I thank you in advance. So I'm sure that just bringing up the topic may bring up a lot of feelings or memories for many people, 100%. So we might think of our childhood, we might think of our current household relationship situation, and a lot of good feelings, a lot of bad feelings, a lot of maybe neutral feelings. Just depends. It's a unique thing. We all have a unique relationship, two relationships. Our dynamics, as a lot of us probably already know, start in childhood. They start with the way that we're raised, the way that we're cultured. We see mom and dad act a certain way to each other. We have certain dynamics that are cultivated in what gets us approval from our parents and what we do to get that approval. Maybe some parents have this competition dynamic between the brothers and the sisters so that they can be motivated to do better or get better grades, and maybe to get the kids to behave, the parents will put the kid down for acting out, being naughty, and they'll reward the kid for getting good grades or doing their chores. And this sort of reward system is very popular, a popular way to culture people, basically to make the parents' lives easier, right? And maybe not the parents have good intentions. They say the road to hell is paved to good intentions, right? But I know that a lot of us can have hard feelings about the way that we grew up, and I certainly did. And it's valid to understand that if you have the anger, you need to accept the anger and work through it. Or if you have shame, or if you have resentment, those are all understandable. A lot of times we want to speed up our process of forgiveness and letting go. And the thing is, we really need to use the anger as a stepping stone, or the shame as a stepping stone, the resentment, whatever feelings come up surrounding our childhood. Don't bulldoze them just so you could get to the good feelings. I forgive, I let go, because it doesn't work that way. I learned that the hard way. So you can be angry. It's just, do you want the anger to be a final destination? That's key. And why is that? Let's fast forward into our futures. Now that we're having jobs and having a relationship with our boss and our spouse at home, the dynamics we have with our parents and our siblings when we're kids carries over into the dynamics of our future relationships. So if we have competitive behavior dynamics, that will carry into our workplace. You'll have competitive behavior with your coworkers. So if you fought for validation from your parents, you might do the same thing until you really work through the layers of feelings. That's why the concept of inner child work is very important. I know this sounds cheesy and lame to a lot of people. I know a lot of guys especially struggle to talk about this stuff. Girls too, women too, but it's important to do the work. They call this stuff inner work for a reason. Now in Native American culture, they say it's important to walk in the moccasins of your ancestors. So it's easy to just say, "Oh, I forgive my parents and I let go of the anger and all that." And if it does feel easy, saying it and thinking it's one thing, but if it feels easy, then great, good for you. But if you still find blockages and you still find some resentment come up from time to time, just do a little bit of walking in the moccasins, as the Native American says, walk in the shoes of your parents, your ancestors. Try to visualize what they went through. Now, understanding is the key to love. It's the key to healing. It's the key to compassion. Understanding is how you forgive, how you let go. And to understand that whole visualization of what your parents went through when they were kids, they were raised, with different standards and different times. They were a different generation. You can't get mad at a iPhone 5 for not having the capabilities of an iPhone 10. An iPhone 5 is not going to be able to have a 4K camera, right? Or HD. It's going to be slower. So this doesn't mean that you should just forgive or forget, rather, the bad behaviors that somebody might have had. No, it's just having that understanding will help you heal a bit. It will help you have a little bit more grace and ease around the topic, and that ease and grace will carry over to your future relationships. So if people nowadays are still acting harmful and from an unhealed place, then you need to have boundaries with these people and communicate with them. You may not have them in your life so much anymore or whatever, but it'll just cause less triggers within you when you have more understanding. So coming to understanding, searching for understanding by walking in their shoes a bit visually through maybe visualization techniques, meditation, journal writing, inner child work. Come to an understanding is huge, huge, huge. Try to put yourself in their shoes, and it will cause that grace and ease that will make your future relationships more easy to navigate through, for sure. So important. Now, a lot of people, like myself in the past, will just say, "Oh, it's easier to avoid relationships altogether." My wounds and my anger were so deep that I opted to just avoid people, and I isolated for a long time. The crappy thing about that is that it got really boring and old, and a lot of yogis and mystics, Buddhists, would escape to the cave or live in a monastery, shave their head, and detach from all worldly things because the world caused so much suffering and pain, and that's understandable, right? But the long-term healing happens when you're in the middle of the city and in the middle of the noise, in the middle of the chaos, but you can be still and peaceful and graceful. You can be in a relationship because relationships have benefit. Love has benefits. Community has a lot of benefits, and it's very good for you. It's very valuable. When I started healing, getting back into community, so important. I was addicted for a while, had addiction problems, opiates and nicotine, and that was kind of like a cause of me being cut off. I had a lot of anger and trauma and so on, but that's how I coped. A lot of times was with my addictions, and coming back to sobriety, I realized how important community was. But coming back in community, I was trying to bring in these understanding perspectives when coworkers and people, triggered anger. And one other really important thing I focused on to make relationships better was communication. There's such an art, right? Getting better at listening, taking deep breath before responding instead of reacting, meditating on a difficult conversation I had at work or whatever. So communication is the pathway to good relationships and understanding. So understanding, communication, those two work hand in hand. The understanding will help your communication flow much better, for sure. Another important point that I want to bring up is this community stuff, these relational things come in cycles and seasons. So you might have different type of interactions that will bring out different triggers from your past, and it's not exactly a straight line always. It's very cyclical. So maybe a certain time of the year might remind you of something, or maybe it's a certain archetype in your life, like your boss, or archetype like a coworker. They might remind you of your sibling. Your boss might remind you of your parents. So maybe certain interactions more with these type of people will bring out certain type of dynamics, like the sibling might bring out the competitive nature, the parent or the boss might bring out the rebellion that you had as a child to your parents. So know thyself. That's important. You might have a really good month and then feel like you're pretty relieved from that situation, and it might come back and test you in another few months, and that's normal. So don't give up. I made a little video about the pendulum swing of healing and growth and goals. Just stay committed to your higher calling during those swings, and that will carry you through. No, it's just a test. Life is throwing tests at you all the time, and it's about, are you wanting to integrate your higher self, or are you wanting to slip back into your old self, the anger, whatever. It's all a choice. This video is not me telling you what to do at all. It's, oh yeah, do whatever you want to do, of course, but everything, every mindset, every action has a consequence. And if you like how a certain way of thinking and relating to people is serving you, if it's causing you good feelings, then go with it. If it's not, then reassess your relationship to relationships. It's healthy. Check our ego. Maybe our story wasn't right. The ego has its little stories and identities, meanings it gives the world, and always be ready to shed that skin. Don't let the mask be glued to your face. If there was a point of view, a perception about the world or somebody or someone that is just now causing you pain, then let it go. Be open to a new attitude, because relationships can have a lot of richness. You can actually, I enjoy being around people now. I enjoy communicating. I see, gosh, community has, it's a lot of energy exchange that goes on. You scratch that person's back and they scratch your back even better. So it's also the nature of reality. Everything is interconnected. There's bees and trees and exchange of particles going on all the time. So if you cut yourself off from that, then things aren't going to flow so smoothly in your life. There's a lot of benefits to having optimized relationships. So, little summary: understanding leads to better communication, which leads to better relationships. So do that. Inner child work. Journal, meditate, think about the archetypes in your life, the people that bring out certain triggers in you, certain qualities. Be open to shed the story that you had about somebody or something. Be open to change. Recognize things come in cycles and seasons. Tests come in cycles and seasons. And don't give up during the hard seasons. Something that used to be hard can actually be very easy and great and fulfilling. I've seen that along my own life for sure. So don't give up. And at the end of the day, it's your journey, it's your choice, and having better relationships just can make you happy. And it's letting go of anger it's not even just about the other person. It's good for you. It's carrying around anger and bitterness is heavy baggage on your shoulders. So you can keep it if you like. It's a personal choice, but anger is like a fire. It can burn down the whole place. So you can use that anger as a stepping stone. Please don't deny it. That's what a lot of people do, but ask yourself if the anger is a long-term destination you want to be at, or do you want to bring in more peace and more joy and more flow? Because it makes life smoother. Having those heavy feelings led me to addiction. So feelings like anger and depression and guilt and shame led me to addiction, because those feelings are so heavy that I wanted to numb them. So that's something to consider. Me having a lighter energy, a lighter vibration around relationships, and having more grace and peace and understanding with people and forgiveness helps me be sober, because those feelings, those energies feel lighter. They feel more joyful to be with than anger and bitterness all the time. So it's not just about those people. It brings me value. And again, just because you are forgiving somebody doesn't mean that you're allowing them to walk all over in your life. You still have boundaries. You still need to respect yourself, and you can still communicate your needs to people sternly. It doesn't mean that you are letting people walk all over you. No. Forgiveness and understanding just means that you are smoothing out the edges in the interactions in your mind and in physical interactions you have with those people, and that's nice. So in my job, I deal with a lot of rough people too. Sometimes I work a normal job, and they can be very, very angry, and I just understanding their perspective, their anger, it helps the conversations flow better. Before, I would just not want to put up with people like that. So let me know your experience about this topic in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Take care, everybody. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Much love. Peace.